right, let me ask you, did you wake up this morning dreading the thought of another workday? It happens to all of us, I promise. And today we're going to talk about why that happens and maybe some ways that you can reignite that passion for the work that you do. First, though, I want to welcome you to my channel, whether you're a loyal subscriber or a new person who just stumbled upon this video. I'm so happy you're here. I'm Tara, a productivity and success coach who helps high achievers kill it at work without sacrificing the people or things that they love. And on this channel, I teach strategies for balancing it all with confidence and clarity. So if any of that resonates with you, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for any future videos. When your work just doesn't feel fulfilling anymore, it can be frustrating, confusing, and you start to question a lot of things around it because if you used to love what you do, it just doesn't make sense why you're not feeling that way anymore. So, why does it sometimes get to the point where we feel like we've hit a wall with the work that we do? It's not just about being tired or bored, although those are factors that come into play, but there's so much more that goes into it. It often boils down to whether the work still aligns with your values, your passions, your interests, your strengths, all of that. When there's a mismatch between your work and one or more of those factors, that's where you can start to feel that tug away from the work. That's where tasks that you used to love and enjoy doing start to feel like a chore and a burden to do. So take a moment right now, pause this video if you need to, and think about what are your core values and how is your current role or work aligning or maybe not aligning with those core values. Take that time to do this reflection because this helps you to pinpoint any areas of misalignment where adjustments may need to be made that will help you get that fire back into your soul about the work that you're doing. Another common reason for feeling uninspired at work is because we're not having the opportunity to grow or we're not being challenged. As humans, it's in our nature to want to continue to learn, to continue to grow, to gain new skills. That's just kind of ingrained into who we are. And if your job has become too mundane, too routine, too simple, if you're not having to use your brain in different ways, that can lead to a little bit of that feeling of burnout at work. And when boredom sets in, that's when you start to question the work that you're doing. That's when you start to dread the work that you're doing because you don't want to do it. Who wants to do something that's so boring? You want to do something that gets you excited that makes you want to jump out of bed every morning. So that's another thing to think about is what part of your tasks or your day-to-day routines within your work have become just so routine and mundane that they're keeping you from enjoying the work. And there are some things that you can do to help kind of offset that feeling of boredom. And that's really to set some goals around your own professional development. Maybe you want to learn a new skill, or there's a project that you really want to tackle because it would challenge you in new ways. Or perhaps you want to seek out a mentor at work. These are opportunities for you to get outside of your comfort zone and to expand your horizons a little bit more and to add a little bit of flair and excitement into the work that you're doing. Find these opportunities, reach out with to your colleagues or your supervisor to see what opportunities there are within your organization, but also to see what opportunities may exist outside of those. There are tons and tons of opportunities to learn and grow through podcasts, through videos like this, through online courses. The world is your oyster, I guess, if we're going to be cheesy and cliche. But this is where you need to set around some serious goals that are related to your professional development, identifying skills or projects that you want to work on specifically, and then finding the opportunities that will help you towards those goals. So, with that, I encourage you to write down one goal that you can take action on this week to bring a little bit of energy and excitement back into the work. What is that one goal? Maybe it is listening to a podcast. Maybe it's having a conversation with someone at a higher level than you at your job. Maybe it's working with a colleague to get some feedback on your own performance. What's one goal that you can write down right now and take action on this week to make some baby steps to not only growing professionally, but re energizing your work? We also know that life happens outside of work, and that life that's happening outside of work can really play a role in how you feel about work. So it could be, a personal struggle that you're going through, or a family issue that you're having to deal with, or just, your ebbs and flows of the different seasons. Those all impact how you're feeling about your work in that current moment. A few years ago, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer. And let me tell you, that was probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through so far in my entire life. One, I was far long distance from my family. I was living in a whole nother state, 10 hours away, and I couldn't go home for every doctor's visit. But I wanted to be present and support not just my dad, but my mom in this process. And doing that meant that anything related to my dad's doctor's appointments, really anything related to my family, that was going to come first. And work was not a priority for me at that time. When he ended up passing away, I came back to work and I was just existing. There's no better way to say it. Work was not something that I cared about. I was not driven. I was doing the bare minimum that I needed to do because I was grieving. I was going through that grief process, and I needed to go through that grief process. And it's okay to recognize that life will get in the way of work, and sometimes vice versa. That's what this whole like work life integration thing is all about. But it's also important to recognize when that is happening and take some small steps that you can do to help yourself either move forward or just take on the next day. Because the worst thing you can do is continually show up to work feeling that dread and almost like having to drag yourself into the office, when there are opportunities and ways to take small steps that maybe it's just one little thing. Like for me, when I was going through that tough time, the only thing that kept me showing up to work were my colleagues, because I really needed that support system. But also they just helped me kind of forget about all of the hard stuff I had just gone through. And that was what was getting me to work. So when you are going through a difficult time in your life and that's impacting how you're feeling about your work, find those things at work that will help you get through those tough life things. It's also so important to just recognize how these external factors are impacting your work and then prioritizing self care. Things like exercise, meditation, journaling, having a gratitude practice, they can all make a huge difference, not just at work, but in your personal life as well. So be sure to take care of yourself. I say this all the time. They tell us on the plane for a reason to put on our oxygen masks first before we can help anyone else. The same goes for self care. You have to take care of yourself before you are ever able to give your full self to anyone else, anything else, to work, to life, to your family, to your friends. You have to take care of yourself. And by taking care of yourself, you're working to be a better professional in your work. All right, now that we've talked about some of the reasons why this feeling of dread may hit you when it comes to your work, let's talk about a few strategies to help you get out of bed excited for work, reignite that passion for your work, and just find that excitement again. And one of those first strategies that I want to share with you is to just find a fresh perspective on your work. Sometimes all we need is kind of a change of pace or a new idea or something new to get us excited again. I can guarantee you, there are aspects of your work that you haven't yet fully explored. So take an opportunity, take an inventory, really think about what are maybe key skills or maybe there are resources or professional development opportunities that you have not yet explored related to your role. List those out and pick one to focus on. Center your attention around that new thing that is still related to your work, but it is completely new. I can guarantee once you start focusing your attention there, you will start to get excited more and more about the work that you're doing. You can also find projects or opportunities where you can tap into your strengths that may not be utilized currently in your role. This may be an opportunity for you to approach your supervisor and come up with a project that is still related to the work, but capitalizes on the strengths that you bring to your team. This gives you an opportunity, one, to advocate for yourself, but two, to better align your values, your passions, your interests and strengths to your work. Which, if you remember, that misalignment is one of the reasons why you're feeling that dread in the first place. So, why not find a way to make them aligned? I've also mentioned this already, but reach out to trusted colleagues, mentors, friends, whatever, to get feedback on your work. This helps you identify your own strengths, but also it gives you a fresh perspective, which then may give you an opportunity to create new goals related to your work that fire you up and get you excited and really have you wanting to jump out of bed and get to work. And related to that, too, commit to ongoing learning. I've already mentioned this as well, but having that fresh perspective or having that opportunity to learn something new brings a new energy into your work. So prioritize that with your work. Make sure that you are scheduling time to read articles, to watch videos, to listen to podcasts that are related to your industry that will not only make you a better person, but they will help you with the work that you're doing. So that way you're using your talents and you're learning new skills and finding new ways to bring that excitement back into the job. Remember, it's okay to feel these kind of lows at work. We all do. What matters is what you do about them. So don't just sit in the misery. Acknowledge it. It's there. You have to recognize that it's happening, but find opportunities for you to get outside of your comfort zone, to bring something new and exciting into your work. This is what will make you stand out as a high achiever compared to someone who just sits in the funk. So stay focused on what really excites you about your work. Maybe you need to revisit when you first started in your role and why you were so excited to say yes to that job offer. Also, take on challenges as opportunities for growth and keep an open mind for chances to learn something new in your work. Remember that your career is your journey. And so you have the power to shape it and to determine how it will look and feel for you every single day. Well, thanks for hanging out today. As always, I am so grateful that you chose to spend some time with me. If this video was helpful to you, I would very much appreciate it if you would like, comment, or subscribe. And don't forget to share it with a friend as well. Here's to another week filled with more hot successes than hot messes. I'll see you next week, y'all.